Okay, I think we'll get started 'cause there's quite a few people here. So welcome. This is going to be about everything move in and helpful tips for even after you move in and kind of what to expect when you live in residence. So we'll just do some quick introductions and then we'll get started with the presentation. So I'm Laura. I'm the housing consultant. I've worked here for too many years. I won't say how many years at this point. Um, and right now, I do all the social media. So if you follow us on Instagram, I've probably done that. I handle the residence portal. So any of the pages you view online, I put all that information on there. So if you have any feedback about that, I'm always open to know what would work better. And then if you email, I'm probably one of the people that has answered your questions. And then we have Jordan will also be in the presentation with us.
Hello, my name's Jordan. I am one of the residence life coordinators here, and I've been here for a little over a year. I'm very excited to see all of you in the upcoming school year.
And I'll be behind the scenes, responding to your questions and letting the team know if any questions happen while it goes. So this voice belongs to Diana Porter, the housing manager. So I also answer questions via email, but I am there to support my team if any residence concerns arise, whether it be regarding assignments, applications, offers, waitlist, any of those matters. I work with my team so that we can come up with a solution for you folks.
All right, so we'll get started. If you have questions, put them in the chat. We did also get a handful of questions ahead of time. Most of those are going to be answered in the session already, but if they aren't at the end, we'll kind of do like a rapid fire question answer and try to get through them. If we don't answer your question, our contact information is at the end, and you can always email us and we can answer your question there. So move in. All right, so just some quick facts about residents. Um, we are 100% MacEwan population. There's going to be over 850 of you living here this fall. Um, some interesting facts. We get a lot of parcels, over 32,000. So don't feel ashamed if you're getting an Amazon delivery every week because you're not the only one. We also have a little under 10% of our students are international students. So there's lots of representation from around the world. And we have over 200 plus events throughout the year. So there's something for everyone. There's always something to do in residence besides studying and going to class. The move-in. Move-in is on Friday, August 28th. Everyone in here should have gotten their welcome package, which directs you to your housing hub on the residence portal. I cannot stress enough. Always look at your housing hub. It has up-to-date information about everything. So if you have not looked at that yet, please go do because it has all of the payment information, your room assignment, roommate information, and could probably answer a lot of questions you might have. But if you are moving in on the move-in day, it is Friday, August 28th, and it starts at 7 a.m. over in Allard Hall, which we will go over shortly. Anything to add to that, Diana?
It might be answered in a later slide, but there really is no end time to move in. It starts at that time and goes until later in the evening. But if you are looking for the best experience, I would recommend arriving before 5 p.m. That's when the majority of our volunteers start to leave, and it just becomes a lot of the front desk staff facilitating the move-in experience. And which typically results in lineups for either moving bins or getting your key package or anything like that. So the best experience will be between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. The next slides will go into early arrivals and late arrivals. Something to also note is if you are on a lower floor, we highly recommend utilizing the stairwells. Reason being is you don't have to wait for the elevators. And second reason being is at least one elevator will be down, as we are currently working on a modernization of our elevators. So there will be less elevator usage available.
Perfect. So what do you do on move-in day? So step one, park. There is free parking all day in the surface lot. So there's a lot directly behind the residence building and a lot just to the west of the residence building. They're very easy to find. There's also a map in your housing hub if you're unsure where to go, but there's lots of signage. And if you put MacEwan Residence into Google Maps or Apple Maps, you'll find it. And then there's a QR code on your residence portal. So you just show that with photo ID when you check in, and then that you'll get your keys, your residence ID card if you have submitted a photo. There was a handful of people that their photo did not meet the guidelines. So if you received an email, you do need to submit a new photo. Otherwise, you don't actually get your move-in information until you go stand in the photo line. And there's only one photo line, so it can line up. So definitely submit your photo in advance if you got that email. And then after you get all your move-in stuff, you can sign out a moving bin. They are limited. We do not have enough moving bins for everyone. So if they're out, they do get returned fairly quickly. So you can just wait. Or you can bring like your own dolly if you have them. But I always find like people are never waiting more than like maybe half an hour for a moving bin. They do get returned quite quickly. And then you'll move into your suite. And then after you will, once you're moved into your suite, please submit a suite condition report. This is, so you'll go through pretty much every part of your suite and you'll write down if there's damage, if anything's missing, if anything's not working. And we compare this when you move out. We inspect your suite when you move out. And if you didn't put it on that suite condition report, you might be charged for damage. So if you don't want to be charged for anything, write it all down. No detail is too much.
And
Anything
we
to
do
add?
have previous years inspections that we can go back on and double check, but a lot of it is a human element. And when you involve human elements for personal, like for inspections, anything can be missed. So we do those pre-inspections. Now, as I said, things can be missed. So for instance, if something's not working in your room, a light could have burned out from the time that we did the inspection to the time that you moved in. There are over 500 different rooms that we are inspecting. So it does take time to inspect each of those spaces. So if there is something not working, you can submit a maintenance request on your residence portal, or you can come down and submit that maintenance request with the front desk. On move-in day, for most of the day, there will be a separate table for work orders, so you can submit them there and ask any questions. The other thing to note is if there's cleanliness concerns, my version of clean might be different than your version of clean. A little dust may form from the last inspection, and that might be missed. So if there is any cleanliness concerns when you move into your room, don't clean them yourselves. We have staff available, housekeeping staff that can come in and clean those items. So just make sure you're utilizing the resources that we have available to help make sure it's the best experience for you.
And here is the move-in day map. So this is also on your housing hub, but essentially the lot behind residence and to the west is where you can park for free. There's lots of spaces. The lots are huge, and it is free. You don't need a pass or anything. Parking is just not monitoring it. The little tiny road right in front of residence will be closed. So you do have to enter from either 105th Avenue or 112th Street. But again, it's really easy to find. It's not difficult to manage around residents. And then once you park, Allard Hall is, so the move-in is not happening at residence. The move-in is happening in Allard Hall. There will be signage, there will be flags up. You can't miss where you need to go to pick up your keys. And then afterwards, you would come to residence to actually move it. And then if you need to move in earlier, there is an early arrival request form on your portal. It's under forms once you log in right at the top. And you have to submit that to residents@mcewan.ca by August 21st. There is an extra charge. It's $50 per night if you need to arrive earlier. And then if you want to arrive later, so maybe you just don't want to move in on move-in day, or your parents can't come with you that day, you can move in later. We just ask that you let us know. So just send an email to residents@mcewan.ca with your date. There's no charge for late arrivals.
Sandra, I see you have your hand raised. With the format of this presentation, we're unable to unmute you. So if you do have a question, we will need you to put it either in chat or Q&A. If it is a personal question, just email residents@mcewan.ca and one of our team members will get back to you this week.
All right. And so there were a lot of questions about residence fees. So your questions should all be answered on this slide. So your fees, everyone's fees are posted, so that you can view that in your portal under the accounts. If you go to your housing hub, there's a link to get to the accounts page, so you can see all your fees. And there's multiple ways you can pay. So fall term is due by September 22nd. That's the most important date at the moment. So you don't have to pay everything all at once. Your accounts page can look very overwhelming at the moment. You only have to pay your fall room fees, your fall residence life fee, and your insurance fees. That's what's due by September 22nd. And then the rest you can pay the winter term. If you're on a 12-month contract, you can pay your spring, summer term by those dates there. This information is also on your housing hub. Anything to add to that, Diana?
Not that I don't think isn't answered by the next slide.
Okay. So I've already told you where you can find your residence fees. And then how do you pay your fees? So you can pay online through the residence portal with credit card or debit. You can pay at the front desk with debit. They only accept debit. If you're an international student, we do take Flywire payments, and that information is on the portal for how to send that. We also accept sponsorship if you're being sponsored, and you just have to email all those documents to residents@mcewan.ca, and then finance can help you out with that. We don't take checks or money orders. That's campus-wide. The other option, which quite a few students do, is payment plan. I didn't update this slide. Oops. Okay. That's okay. So monthly payments plan. So if you can't pay your fees all at once, we do monthly payment plans. So how a payment plan works is we take your total owing, so everything that you owe for your entire contract, so fall, winter term, spring, summer, if you're on a 12-month contract, and we divide that equally into however many months are in your contract. So if you're on a fall and winter contract, 8 months, we take everything that you owe and we divide it by 8, and you pay an equal amount every month. So a common question that we get is like, okay, I'm not staying till the end of April. Does that mean my April rent is less? No, you still pay the full amount because it's not necessarily covering those dates. It's just been divided equally amongst your contract. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, feel free to email, and I have a better way of explaining it over email. To set up a payment plan, we need a pre-authorized debit agreement form. Sometimes it's called a void check with your bank. So you can download that from your banking app, or request it directly from your bank, and then you just email it to us. It needs to be a Canadian bank and it needs to be in your name. We don't accept like a parent or guardian or a relative's banking information. It has to be your bank account. And then we auto withdraw the payments from your bank account on either the 1st or the 15th of the month. So you have to tell us which date you prefer. Those are the only two dates that we accept. So if you get funding on like a different date, you just kind of have to budget accordingly and know that you have a payment coming out on one of those dates. Once the payment plan is set up and approved, there's nothing you have to do. You just have to ensure the money is in your bank account and finance just automatically takes it out on that date. So you don't have to like send us the money in advance or anything. And then there is a $50 charge for a payment plan, and that is added into your first month. So your first month is always $50 more than the other months. And I know that's very overwhelming, but there's like, I guess there's a lot of information because if you don't follow the guidelines of a payment plan, there can be some consequences. If you miss a payment, you can get NSF fees, which are charged by your bank and can also be charged by us. And that's extra money that you might not have to pay. So it's just really important that you understand how a payment plan works and when the money is coming out of your account so that you don't miss payments. But if you have questions, put that in the chat or email. If you have specific questions about your account, it's best to email us. And then, so additional information. So every resident is enrolled into our insurance program. It's called Marsh Insurance. So they are a third-party insurance company that handles the tenant insurance for us. So that so you pay that in your fees. So one of the things that you have to pay by September 22nd is that insurance, and that covers you for if there's a flood, if there's any emergency of any sort that your items are damaged, you're covered by that insurance. And you just have to pay the deductible. Diana could probably go into more. Diana knows a lot more about the insurance than I do.
It's a $500 deductible that you'd have to pay if something's damaged in your room. So for instance, if your toilet overflowed and it damaged your bath mat, it'd just be more affordable for you to purchase your own bath mat rather than pay the $500 deductible through insurance. But it doesn't hurt to always go through insurance, and then I can tell you next steps.
Yes. And you can opt out. So if you're covered under like your parent or guardian's insurance, you can opt out. There's a link in your housing hub. You have to do it by September 15th. They don't extend that deadline. And you do have to submit the insurance information to Marsh, and they verify if it's correct and if you can be opted out of the program. If that happens, if you do successfully opt out of the program, you are either refunded or we remove the charge if you haven't yet paid it. But otherwise, you're covered by our program. And then third-party access. So if a parent or guardian wants to handle things on your behalf, you have to be involved in every step. So you have to be the one to initiate that. You have to email us or you have to phone us. We can't respond to their emails separately. You always have to be included in the conversation and you always have to be the one making the decisions. They can absolutely be part of the conversation if you want them to be, but ultimately you are the one making the decisions. And maintenance requests. So as a building, things go wrong, things stop working. You're not responsible for fixing anything, even like if a light goes out, if your toilet stops working, if your fridge isn't cool enough, if once the heat is on in the building for the winter, if there's no heat coming from your radiator, you can submit a maintenance request through your portal or come to the front desk and our facilities team will handle it. It's at no charge to you and everything is addressed within 5 business days.
And the reason it's within 5 business days is the maintenance people aren't dedicated to residents. They also service the university, which now has 12 buildings. So they spread out the workload depending on urgency. Obviously, a clogged toilet is an urgent issue, whereas maybe something like a loose towel bar isn't going to be addressed as urgently and will be closer to that 5-day timeline.
And then here's just an overview of the important dates. Again, this all gets put on your portal, but it's always just good to know. So move-in date, August 28th, insurance opt-out September 15th, and then fees are due September 22nd. And then move-out dates. So most people are on a fall and winter term. So your move-out date would be April 23rd. But if you're only staying with us for the fall term, your move-out is December 19th. Again, you get lots of notifications about this. We remind you, don't worry, there's no way to forget when you're moving out. And then Jordan will take over for everything residence life and all the fun stuff that happens in the building.
Okay, okay. So when you move into residence, me and Res Life will be running lots of fun events for you so that you can meet some new people, get used to the building, and get a sense of what it's like to be in MacEwan Residence. Um, so over the next few slides, I'm going to be showing you some of the O-Week specific events that are showing up, but there's also much more events going on throughout the course of the year. There's at least 2 or 3 every single week. So if you want to have some fun within residence and make new friends, we've got you covered. I'm also going to be talking a little bit about the MacEwan Student Life app, which is a new initiative that has been created by the institution and is essentially meant to be a one-stop shop to communicate with all your fellow students, both in residence and without, and to find out all the fun things that are happening within the campus community, including residents. When you move in, we will show you how to connect to that, and you will see QR codes everywhere. So don't worry about that. But for now, let's talk about the events that we got coming up. Um, Next slide. So first things first is a campfire. We do this every year, right in front of where you will see the residence entrance. We'll be hosting a campfire for everyone to join, at which point we'll have s'mores, games. You'll be able to make some friends. I think we're doing floor hockey, and I know we're doing some lawn games. There's pretty much a little bit of something for everyone. And that'll be happening right after the bulk of move-in at 6:30 to 9. You also get to meet some of the CLs, which is also good. Bowling, as it sounds, we're going to take some people bowling. We're going to provide transportation. You're going to get some food there, and it's going to last for about 2 hours. I think bowling is self-explanatory and is a very great opportunity to meet some new people. Next up, we have Adulting 101. Some of you, it's your first time leaving home. We get that. We've all been there. With that being said, we are creating sessions on Sunday so that you can learn how to live like an adult in MacEwan Residence, whether this is learning how to do laundry or communicating with roommates, XYZ, we've got you covered. That'll be happening on Sunday. Next up, we have the aerial park. This is quite a popular one, and essentially what we'll be doing is that there's an aerial park in Edmonton that you'll be able to do a whole bunch of climbing activities and have fun with new people and make new friends. The staff will be there. You'll be getting food while you're there as well, and you can see, and it's about 5 hours while we're there. So you get a good opportunity to climb all around the place. Next up, we have IKEA. So you've moved in, you need some furniture. Where are you gonna go? You're gonna go to IKEA, right? Who doesn't love a little bit of IKEA shopping? What we're gonna do is that we are going to give you a bus to go directly there so that you can know that transportation is covered because IKEA is a little bit of a trip from here, but it's still in town, and this can be a good opportunity to figure out how exactly you want to furnish your apartment in a way that supports you better. There are also some fun opportunities to get some free prizes. Next up, creative night. This one's a little bit more low key. It's a little bit more like we're not going everywhere. We're not doing everything. We're just settling in, having some fun, and just being really creative, getting in our creative energy. There's going to be a ping pong tournament. There's going to be lots of crafts, painting, arts and crafts, need what's it called? Beading, tie-dye, snacks, karaoke, the full gamut, and we're just trying to get everyone in that creative spirit. So we're very excited for that one, and we hope to see you there. Next up, we have silent disco. This is personally one of my favorites. So if you've never heard of a silent disco, it's essentially a disco, but we'll give you headphones. So instead of having loud music playing all around the place, the music's going to be coming from your headphones. And everyone's going to have the same 2 or 3 sets of channels. So you can all share the same experience while you're having fun with each other in a disco type environment. I think it's a very fun idea. And when I was in uni, I had tons of fun with it. Next up, we have Avatar, Fire and Ash. As you might have been able to tell, there's an entire theme towards all of our events, and that is Avatar. And so on Friday, we'll be having a screening where we'll be watching the latest Avatar movie, Fire and Ash. This will be happening the same place as the campfire and will be put up on a screen so that everyone can get lawn chairs, everyone can get some popcorn, everyone can really just enjoy the movie with the good weather. Next up, The Amazing Race. So, like we talked about how some of you are coming in and you're dealing with a whole new situation of how to be adults, some of you are also coming in and not knowing how Edmonton is. What's going on? Where's the groceries? Where's the gym? Where's this? So we figured we would do an amazing race style event so that you'll be able to go to all the key places in and around the community and get to realize where everything is that you might need. And also maybe stumble across some fun things along the way. So that's fun if you're not entirely sure what Edmonton has for you.
And kind of speaking of Amazing Race, I cute a thought that on move-in day, we are also having a resource fair where a bunch of departments on campus will be there. So that resource fair, you can stop by and ask questions of the various campus departments that you may have.
Excellent. Going up into Sunday, we have a vision board night where we're essentially facilitating your ability to create a vision board of what you want to see this year, of what you hope to attain this year. And that can be something that can guide you along your path throughout the year and keep you honed on a certain track and make sure that, hey, I'm on the right track, I'm where I want to be, and I'm doing great. Because sometimes you really do need that little reminder of what your goals were when time comes and you're a little bit stressed out. So we figured a vision board night would be the best way to do that for you. Next slide. Okay, so on a topic of new things again, roommates. Lots of you this may be your very first time with roommates. Some of you have had roommates for a while and you know how the pros and the cons, right? So for those of you who are new, or those of you who have never had a roommate that you didn't necessarily know, what we're doing is we're creating a roommate agreement for you. Each of you will have it sent to your email within the few weeks of moving in, and it will be a guide on how to talk about your shared spaces with your roommates. So they'll talk about things like noise, guests, cleaning, um, doors, all the kind of things that you might have struggle communicating with someone who you maybe just met for the first time, and it supports you in going through that. But nonetheless, Res Life, me and my RLCs will be there to support you regardless of whether the plan goes to plan or not. Within the first 3 weeks, do email us your residence agreement so that we can keep it, so roommate agreement, sorry, so we can keep it in safe for you, and that way when you need it, we have it for you.
And we've simplified accessing the roommate agreement. You can access it on your housing hub. So you don't have to go through your emails. It is just a form button there where you can access it with your roommate.
Exactly. With that being said, there will be some conflict. And if that is the case, or we have a process for you, right? We're not going to stick you with a roommate and leave you there all year and oh well, right? If push comes to shove, the first thing we want to do is allow you to be able to deal with the issue yourself. So we will support you with the CLs and with RLCs in having those communication with your roommate. Let's say it doesn't happen. Let's say, oh, it doesn't go well. At that point, the RLCs will be much more involved and much more looking to solve this issue in a way that works for everyone. And let's say push comes to shove, nothing is working. then yes, we may be able to facilitate a roommate change. But this is very dependent on the availability of the room spaces and will only be considered once residents have completed the full conflict resolution process, which includes the roommate agreement, right? So take some time in the beginning of the year, get the roommate agreement done. It'll be helpful for you in the long run. And we see it year over year. So that's definitely something to be looking out for. Next slide.
And we highly recommend right now on your housing hub, you can go in, see who your assigned roommate is, and start messaging them if you haven't already. Start those conversations now, so that you can get to know them. You guys can decide if you want to bring duplicate items, who's bringing the air fryer, who's bringing the pots, who's bringing the pans. Do you even want to share those items? It's a good opportunity to start working through that roommate agreement that is available on there so that you have it ready prior to move-in, and you already know the expectations with your assigned or requested roommate.
Excellent. Thank you, Diana. When we talk about guests now, everyone wants to have a few guests, everyone wants to have their friends come in, and we're all for that, but there are certain times where we're a little bit more conscious of that. So from Thursday nights to Saturday nights, starting at 9 p.m., we have guest sign-in, right? This just means that you'll have some lovely CLs waiting for you who will be there to be sign in your guests. You may have up to 3 guests signed in at any one time, and you are responsible for all their actions and decisions. You bring them in, you're responsible for them. Your overnight guests can only stay for a maximum of 3 consecutive nights for a maximum of 15 nights a semester. With that being said, regardless, your roommate must consent. That is a non-negotiable. Your roommate has to be comfortable with these guests coming over, whether it's overnight or whether it's temporary, right? You both share that space. You both have a right to have that privacy within your room. Both of you should be able to consent to that. You have to meet them at your guest. You have to meet them at the lobby and sign them in as a guest so that we know that you are the one bringing them in, right? We're going to go to the next slide because there's a specific exception for this. During O week. During O week, you are not allowed overnight guests. From O week goes from move-in day to around September 7th. It's like September 7th, as we say down there. This is so that you can meet new friends, so that you can engage with the community, so that our CLs can focus on running those events, right? During the day, you can absolutely have guests, but you are still required to meet your guests in the lobby, and when sign-in comes in, you may have to sign them in, right? Let's just make sure our CLs are very supported during this, and staff are very supported during this, because it can be a lot of hectic with everyone moving around the place, right?
Yeah, so the
Next
gist
slide.
of this is no guests after 9 p.m. from August 28th to September 7th.
Yep. Lovely.
All right, so that is the presentation. So we'll go into some questions because I know we got some in advance, and I'm not sure if we got any in the chat.
I haven't seen anything come in the chat, so if you do have any questions that you are pending that weren't answered in the presentation, put those either in the chat or the Q&A. And until I see one pop up, what I'm going to do is go through the questions that were submitted, just making sure that we had those answered. So one of the first questions is, how do I find out about residence events? So as Jordan said, they are advertised. So what we do is there is digital screens on every floor, which will advertise them. The MacEwan Student Life app will share information related to them. You can ask your CLs about the ongoing events in residence. Is there other ways that I'm missing, Jordan? Oh, you're muted.
No, I think you got a pretty good spread of it. Our CLs are very excited to have you guys come to the events, so they're going to put it everywhere. One thing for sure, two things for certain, if you are looking in the right places, you'll most definitely find events and things to do.
One of the next questions we had submitted was what to expect on move-in day. So I think Laura did a really good job of providing an overview of that. If you still have questions about what to expect at move-in day, post those in the chat and Q&A. What's open around campus on weekends? Food services is limited through the food court. So it's very limited service offerings on campus. Each department has their own hours. So what I'd recommend doing is when you move in, if you're moving in on August 28th, check out the resource fair and talk to each of those departments to see what their service hours are. You can also, MacEwan has a really good website where it lists each of these service areas and it'll include their office hours. We've already gone over what to do if you need to move on a different day. Early arrivals, submit the form that's available on your housing hub. Later arrivals, just email residents@macewan.ca. Pet fish are allowed in a 5-gallon or less tank. Am I remembering that correctly?
Yes.
Yes, perfect.
I think that second part of the
And
question,
then, pardon?
second part of the question might involve me because we have had a few changes about the RA, and I
Yeah.
think it might be a nice idea to give them a little.
Yeah, give an
So-
overview of how the RAs are now CLs and what a CL is.
Yeah. So you've heard the CL phrase a bit time. You're like, question mark, what does that mean? So the essential way of thinking of it is the traditional RA concept you have in your mind. For the CLs are very much the programming and peer mentors aspect of that. The CLs are called community leaders. There'll be one on every floor. So your community leader will come to you in the first few weeks of school. They'll try and get to know you, try and build a connection, try and be there as a resource if you have any questions, comments, concerns. So there will always be someone around you who is able to help you. The second half of the traditional RA job is that overnight support that is provided. And those are ORAs, overnight residence assistants, right? So they'll be at the front desk, they'll be able to support you overnight. They'll be on the phone. So if you have any questions, you can always just call them. And they'll be trained and able to support you or at least help you during any kind of questions, comments, or concerns you may have during training, not during training, during the school year. And we also want them to be able, for you guys to be able to get to know them too, because they're really fun people and they'll be doing a lot to try and build that community and get to know all of you as well.
Yeah. Okay, anything else you want to add to that right now, Jordan?
Not about the RAs, not about the CLs. The CLs will be the people running the events during a week, and you get plenty of time to meet them. They'll be everywhere and they'll be the ones running events. So if you're worried about who your CL is, they will come find you.
Exactly. One of the next questions we had pre-submitted is, are there washrooms available for use outside of our room / in the lobby? There is a public washroom in the lobby that your guests can use while waiting for you, but there is also a washroom available in every suite that has a toilet, a sink, and a shower. How can I pay my residence fees? We've already gone over all those payment options. You can also review them in your housing hub. Residence fees are due by September 22nd for the fall term. And then the next question is about if you want to continue your stay in residence, basically when can you reapply? So applications for next year, 2027, 2026 will open on October 1st. And you can reapply then. If you are staying for the summer, you may be required to room change because we change our student floors every summer. And the reason being we do that is so we can do maintenance in the spaces. So for instance, if the same floors are occupied year after year, we'd never get in there to do regular maintenance, ensure those rooms are functioning properly. So you may be required to room change if you are staying the summer and continuing your contract. A question that was submitted in chat, do we need a shower curtain and rings? Those are provided for you. So if you move into a room, which happens to not have one, go to the front desk and they will work with our housekeeping team to provide that to you. Another question, I'll give this to you, Laura. Can parents and friends help with move-in? And are they considered guests that must be signed in?
So parents and friends can absolutely help with move-in. They wouldn't be considered a guest during the day, but as Jordan mentioned, after 9 p.m., they would be considered a guest, so they would have to leave you at that time, but they could come back the next day if you still need help with setting up your suite.
Yeah. And sign-in, as Jordan mentioned, is from Thursdays to Saturdays. So outside of orientation week, sign-in is Thursday to Saturdays. During orientation week, there is no overnight guests, but Thursdays, Saturdays, you could sign them in. Okay, so hopefully that answers that question. The next question is, are there locks on the suite and bedroom doors? There is a lock, so everyone will be given a key to get the entrance. And then there is an individual key for your bedroom door if you're in a shared unit. So you can lock your bedroom door and the washroom door, obviously. Jordan, are these events in residence, such as the silent disco, fee-based? Do they have to pay money to attend them?
There's not a singular event we will ever run that you need to pay for.
Yeah,
You pay residence fees, and part of that is paying for all these functions. So that every event you are free to come to, but non-residents cannot attend these events. But as long as you're a resident, you can come to any event you want. For fair play.
perfect, excellent. The CLs, the community leads, and the ORAs, they are fellow students who live in the building. The front desk staff who work during the day and the back office staff are professional staff who do not live in the building. Is the Thursday to Saturday sign-in for overnight guests or guests only allowed those days?
Thursday to sign, you're allowed guests every day, except during our week, and except during our week at night, right? Guests are always welcome. At night is when you have to sign them in, and Thursday to Saturday is only for sign in specifically. Or at least you only have to sign in people Thursday to Saturday, 9 p.m. onto the morning. That's it. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you can bring in guests however you like, as long as they meet the other resident standards agreements, such as less than 3 guests at one time, and so on and so forth. You can look at the residence standards agreement. It's online and it's probably in your housing hub for more details on that. But
Yeah.
guests are usually allowed.
Yeah. So as Jordan said, guests are permitted at any point in time, excluding overnight guests during orientation week, which is August 28th to September 7th, not 17th, September 7th. After 9 p.m., there is no guests permitted. And the only times you have to sign in guests are Thursday to Saturday nights after 9 p.m. Otherwise, they can just come and go with you greeting them in the lobby. For early arrival, where do I pick up my keys and ID? So if you submitted an early arrival request form and we have had the opportunity to process it, we are processing those that are arriving within the next week first and before moving on to anyone arriving later. Your instructions on your housing hub will auto update with your pickup location, and that's just the residence front desk. So outside of move-in day between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m., all keys are picked up at the front desk. During move-in day from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., it is through Allard Hall and our move-in activities. Anything to add there, Laura?
No, I think you covered it.
Okay, perfect. Are there people in residence to speak to about disability-based support, or does that just go through disability office? So the answer would be to go through the disability office on campus because they are the subject matter experts. Now, if you have a room assignment request, we've received requests from people saying that they have mobility concerns that weren't previously shared, and they're allocated to floor 12, and they're wondering if they can be allocated to a lower floor like floor 2 and 3 in the case of an emergency to make it easier to go down the stairs. That's something that you can email the residence office directly, but outside of that, I would go through the subject matter experts, which is the ADR office, the Access and Disability Resources Office. How much is laundry per load? So the costs are, I haven't done laundry in a bit, so I'm not sure what the exact costs are, but I do believe it's about $5 for a wash and dry. So from the other area. And do you know what floor your room is on? My room number starts with a 0, so I wasn't sure. So go with the next number. So it's going to be 4 digits. So if the first digit is a 0, the next number will be your floor. The last 2 numbers are the room number on the floors because our building floors are from floor 2 to floor 13. So it could be a 0, 2, 3, 5, or it could be a 1325. 0235 would be floor 2, room 235. 1325 would be floor 13, room 1325. Any other questions? That appears to be the last one, I don't believe. Do you need to bring change for laundry? No, you don't need to bring change for laundry. When you get here, there is instructions in each laundry room. There's an app that the laundry provider issues. The app has changed in the last week. We've been informed by the provider, so we're working with them to get updated instructions in the laundry room. But all you need to do is download that app, and then you load money onto the app, and it auto deducts when you schedule your laundry load, and it gives you alerts when it's done and everything like that. Are there any other questions? That seems to be all from the pre-submitted and submitted right now. So I'll just wait a couple more minutes. Okay, yeah, I just got I had messaged the front desk to get confirmation on laundry. It is $250 for a wash and $250 for a dry, so it is $5. Okay, perfect. We'll wait a couple more minutes. We have no further questions. If you do think of anything, email residents@macewan.ca. We'll try to get to your email as soon as possible. It is a peak time for us, so if we don't respond same day or next day, we typically will respond within 3 business days, and our office is open from Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Residents front desk is open 24/7. Where can I hang my clothes for it to be dry if I wash small items by hand? That is something you can set up in your room to dry. You could use the laundry room, but it is a public space, so that is your personal preference. But yeah, you could set that something up on your personal bedroom for that. Are there desk chairs? Yes, there are chairs for each computer desk. Can we move around furniture? You can move around the furniture in your suite to make it your own. We do advise, though, keep the radiators as clear as possible. That's the heating unit that's underneath your window, because if there is a maintenance concern related to that, you're going to be required to move everything away from it. So it's best to keep that clear, and make sure that there is the technical word is egress, but like abilities to walk around your room. If a maintenance worker were to come in there to do some sort of repair, they have to be able to walk into your room. It has to be clear. Try to keep nothing on your floor, because if they have to repair your light, if they have to fix a closet organizer shelf, if they have to fix anything on your desk, there needs to be a clear path for them to, in order to do that work. If they need to get into your closet, because a lot of the closets have, if there's a plumbing issue in your suite, a lot of the bedroom closets have hatches that lead to the plumbing pipes, to repair any like sink or toilet clogs to assist with that. So there needs to be a clear path to that, because otherwise the work order will be delayed because facilities can't get to the area to complete that repair. The furniture in the kitchen, there is cupboard space, there's a sink, we provide the garbage bin and recycle bin, there's a refrigerator, microwave, 2-burner stove top, a half table that fits 2 chairs. I think I'm not missing anything. Am I missing anything, Laura?
Nope, that covered it. The 4-bedroom has a slightly bigger table if you're in a 4-bedroom.
Yeah, and if you haven't already, on the residence website under, let me just go get the specific area. I think it's called Rooms and Suites. So if you're on the main website, and you go under Suites and Amenities for residents, there are virtual tours for each of the rooms. So if you haven't toured the room space, you can do a virtual tour of the room space to see what your space would be like. Are we allowed to bring a smaller size cabinet for storage, etc. for the kitchen? Yeah, you're allowed to bring additional furniture as long as it doesn't block anything, any path, or anywhere that maintenance workers might need to come in and work to repair a work order. Is there any specific food restrictions for cooking? We do not restrict the cooking that you do in your room space. That is something we do advise, though, talking with your roommate about if you have an assigned roommate, because there are students who may have allergies to certain food items. They could be celiac. They could have a severe allergy to gluten or fish or any peanut butter. So just have a talk with your roommate to see if there is any food restrictions on their end. And that's something you should complete in your roommate agreement. Can we use HelloFresh or Chef's Plate? Yeah, you are welcome to order from those locations. The parcels would be for mail. Small mail will go in your mailbox and you'll get a mailbox key. Anything larger will go in the parcel lockers. I do believe HelloFresh and Chef's Plate is too big for the parcel lockers, so you won't get a notification that there. The box will sit at the front desk. You'll receive a notification that it had arrived, and you should pick it up same day. We've had items like that sit at the desk for several days, and in the end, we just have to throw it out because we can't have spoiled food sitting in our offices. Anything to add about mail, Laura, that I haven't already talked about?
That about covered it. So the parcel lockers, you will receive instructions on how that works when you move in. But essentially you just get an email, and I think it has a code that you put into the system in the lobby, and the door just opens and you get your parcel. It's very easy to use. But if it doesn't fit in the parcel lockers, it will go to the front desk and you'll get an email from front desk to pick it up.
I'll also add a little bit about deliveries, just food deliveries or anything like that. We are not responsible for any deliveries you make. So we recommend that if you make a food delivery, that you do pick it up and meet delivery driver there. That way, there's no miscommunication about where your food went. That just happens a fair bit. So keep that in mind. Try and meet your delivery driver at the front door when they arrive so you can pick it up directly from them.
Jordan, take this question away.
Do you have a roommate? Do you have to do a roommate agreement if you know your roommate? No, but also yes. No, knowing your roommate is a lot different than living with your roommate. Um, and we tend to find that as much as you can be besties, sometimes you need to lay some ground rules, right? Maybe your conversation might not be as unknowing about the certain situations, but having it written in writing so that both of you can refer to and that both of you can be held accountable for it is really helpful for your situation because that's how a lot of friendships go sour. Roommates, they don't quite communicate well as roommates and they start getting on each other's nerves a little bit. So while you're not necessarily required to, we strongly recommend it.
Okay, we'll just wait around for another minute. Oh, there's another question. What are the
Oh,
rules on drinking the dorms? Jordan, I'll let you take this away.
okie dokie. So, drinking in the dorms, the first rule, the most important rule, you have to be of age. Obviously, we follow all federal and provincial laws in that regard, so you do have to be of age to drink alcohol. In regards to once you are of age, then you can drink within reason in your apartment with the door closed. Um, Drinking in the common room spaces or the common spaces are not allowed. And when you are still responsible for your behavior while you are inebriated. You also cannot bring anything that suggests that promotes binge drinking or any drinking paraphernalia while you're in here. And you cannot bring any kind of keg type products. And I believe that there's a certain limit to the size of the bottles and stuff you can bring as well. All of this will be in the resident standards agreement. So you can review that for the details specifically. But generally, you are allowed as long as you are over age.
And there is a link to the community standards in your housing hub.
There you go.
Okay, so far, that's all of the questions. I haven't seen anything new pop up. We'll wait around for another 30 seconds to 1 minute. But as we've mentioned, if you think of anything after we end this session, you can always call the front desk for simple questions, or you can send an email to residents@macewan.ca, and we will typically respond within 3 business days.
And this session was recorded and it will be on your housing hub. It does take a few days to get uploaded, but it will be there by early next week. So you can rewatch it.